Welcome, Rob Crean, to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Happy to have you, man. We got some AC in the background. We're good now. Hell yeah.
It's a beautiful day, man.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
First day, it's like... Second day, I guess, where it's like I'm out there with short sleeves and happy about it. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm always amazed at how well comedy does in the winter months. Like, if it was me, I would not be braving the cold to see a bunch of terrible open micers, but people do.
Yeah, I feel like it's just when the weather changes, there's a dip usually, because it's like, well, I don't think people come out to see open mics, first of all. I think open micers come out to see open mics, and open micers and drunks. And I love both of those groups of people, and not disparaging either the open micer nor the drunk. And I think like when I always notice running shows that like whenever the weather changes, like when it gets cold, people are like, I'm never leaving the house again, and then like 2 weeks in, they're like, all right, I guess I'm gonna leave the house.
Yeah.
And same thing, like now that's nice. I'm sure there'll be a dip in shows for the next couple of weeks because people will be like, I'm not gonna go inside. I'm gonna be outside when it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But then like.
Yep.
After like 2 weeks, they're going to be like, I'm fucking sick of this nature. Come back to watch us talk about our dicks.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the playoffs are fucking with shows right now, too. You know?
Yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah. Who's even in the playoffs? I don't know. I don't follow sports enough.
Celtics and the Bruins are both in the semifinals now.
Oh,
so.
this was... I actually did hear about this. This was making me laugh. That since they both play at TD Garden, they have to alternate nights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is so funny that they have to like put down the... Because I guess the wood goes over the ice, is that right?
Yes. Yep.
So they have to put down the wood. There's probably a name for it.
Parquet, I believe,
parquet,
right?
yeah, parquet. That's
Yeah.
right. That's the word I was looking for.
Yep.
I was just gonna say put down the court, but that can't be right.
It's just funny that like these are two, obviously, but like the best teams in their respective leagues, probably collectively worth over $1 billion, and they can't find another place to play. Like,
Yeah.
Really, guys?
They shouldn't have knocked down the Garden. I said it then. I say it again now. Then they could have just alternated. One could have the new stadium. One could have the old stadium. They could go back, or just the Bruins could have the old stadium because they probably sell less tickets. I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to an arena show?
Yeah, I went to the first show at the first concert at that stadium.
What was that like? I can't imagine that's great for comedy.
Oh, for comedy. I saw Louis C.K. at Madison Square Garden. It was okay.
That must have been great.
We had pretty good seats. We were pretty close, but it's crazy to be in a place that big. Yeah. I think that's the only. I'm trying to think if I've seen. I must have seen other arena shows. Well, I saw Flight of the Conchords at the Agganis Arena with Christian Shaw and Eugene Merman. That was pretty great.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was really. My mom was it was like one of the few last things I did with my mom. She was a big Flight of the Conchords fan.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, it was great. It was really nice, and it was like my friend Matt D, who now is a very successful comedy writer, at the time was just starting comedy and was like flying for the Boston Comedy Festival outside of it, and like ran into my mom before I met up with her, and she was like, "Oh, my son does comedy," and he said very nice things about me to my mom, which was nice because it let her know that I was respected in the community.
Hell yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, there's I still haven't performed in front of my parents yet. I feel like it's going to be I mean, it's probably one of those things there's never a good time to start.
Yeah. That was also another thing that was good about it was I never had a good set in front of my mother ever.
No
so
kidding.
it was the only time I can really remember performing in front of her. She came to some sketch shows that were okay, but the only time I remember doing stand up, I was hosting at Nick's Comedy Stop in Brockton, Massachusetts, and it went so poorly. It was so bad. That's not that like these. I think I could be okay there now. It wouldn't go. It doesn't exist anymore. But if it did, I could be okay there. But like it's not. That's not. Especially back then when I was like a little bit more alty. It was just like. I went up with my weird observations, and then the guy who like went on after me was like, "My wife's so Portuguese." So he killed.
Yeah, I feel like that's comedy rite of passage shit though. Bombing in front of people you'd really rather not bomb in front of.
Oh yeah, man. They used to be the worst. Now I don't really care anymore. Now, like, I mean, now, I don't know. Like, now when I bomb, it's just like, well, I did my best.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But like, you know, I don't know about you guys, but like when I first started, like usually like when I like bombed, it was because I like one thing didn't go well, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna fucking ram this ship into the iceberg then. So it was like felt really bad because it was like a really bad experience, and it was my fault for like being an idiot.
I have such dysmorphia about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can have a good set come off and feel like I did terribly, and people would be like, "What are you talking about?" And I can, that's Gary.
Pod dog, Gary.
Pod dog.
It's like, you're not feeding me.
His new name is Gary. His name is Gary Peterson now. Since it turns out that name's up for grabs, so he can have that now.
Yep.
Gary Peterson.
Yeah. That name is no longer being used, so you can use it.
He's using. What is he using now?
Gary James.
Gary James.
Yes. They call
Who
him
is this person?
He's my best friend, Gary James. He's the Duke of Queens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Check him out. He's very funny.
Huh, will do.
You've definitely seen him at Midway or
Probably
maybe Genie's.
I'm terrible with names.
Yeah.
He used to open for Louis C.K.
No
back in the day,
shit.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Louis. I think on Ked podcast we believe Louis is the best.
Yeah, no, he's very talented.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch anything that he puts out new, but he's quite skilled at the art.
The jerk off gate got to you.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to talk about it, but
Yeah.
I mean, like jerking off in front of people is not great, I guess, but like especially like having your manager like tell people they're not allowed to talk about it, and it's like all these like free speech champions like Chappelle and Bill Burr are like oh those chicks didn't have what it takes to make it anyways, and like but it's like they're like all about free speech, and that's exactly that's like to me one of the biggest parts of that was that they were taking away those people's ability to talk about their experience, which I don't think any comedian should ever do.
Yeah, that it's impossible to argue that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed the longer the cancel culture phenomenon goes on, you realize like, oh, nobody's 100% pro free speech. Everybody has their things that they don't want to hear about.
Sure. Yeah.
It's funny that free speech became like a right wing coded thing when it was like just a blink of an eye ago. The Christian right was the one telling everybody to shut up.
This is the whole thing about free speech is that I think people lose track of is that it just means you don't go to jail. Like that's all it means. Mm-hmm. Like it just means you can say whatever you want and you don't go to jail. But like there's still repercussions for whatever you say. Like no one who's reasonable thinks that you should be allowed to say whatever you want without repercussion. Like there's repercussions. You could lose your job. You could get yelled at. People could be mad at you. You just don't go to jail. Like that's like the thing about American free speech is that you don't go to jail for just saying stuff.
I feel like that's always been the case, and people have always like taken that in stride. And then these past few, I'm so curious as to like your thoughts on why these past few years we've decided to put a name on it. All of a sudden, it became cancel culture. Like people felt the need to talk about it so much more.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just it's the outrage culture that we're in right now, where it's just it's like everything is all information is commodified, I guess, and so it's like you can get a lot more people looking at like someone's being canceled than you can to be like here's a subtle think piece about something someone said that may be difficult for other people to hear.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's man, this got real heavy and unfun real quick.
Yeah, that was. Let's talk about.
Did you hear about there's a guy? It was maybe a fake bear. Did you guys hear about this? This is like I heard in China there was maybe a fake bear. Did you guys?
It could have possibly been a fake bear.
Yeah, they tried to cancel a guy for impersonating a bear.
Yeah, so
we don't know. This was a little over a year ago. The Associated Press reporting.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this. Fake bear, China zoo. For real?
Great headline.
A zoo in China insists this is a bear, not a man in a bear suit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got video. Oh,
yes. That's great.
We got video.
Yeah, this is great because this is. Yeah. Oh man, I love it. No matter what the truth is, because it does. Man, it doesn't look quite like a bear. It doesn't look quite like a human. it really is hard to tell.
Yeah,
But I
yes.
love both options. I think it's great if it's a man pretending to be a bear. I think that is art that I appreciate.
Right.
But also the fact that there might just be a bear that kind of looks like a human.
Yeah.
I also love. Wow.
Yeah, that is the best posture I've ever seen from a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's standing up straight.
He's standing up so
He's got
straight.
Hank Hill ass.
Yeah, he does have flat Hank Hill ass. That's exactly the best way to describe
the
it.
curvature of the spine also seems.
He kind of has a whole Hank Hill body going on.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
But then like long bear neck and head, like a regular bear head and neck on top of Hank Hill dressed as a stagehand body.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah,
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is how human beings evolved. We were more obviously more ape-like, and then Homo erectus came along, and we learned to stand up straighter.
So you think bears are evolving to be the new?
I don't know,
dominant
man. You tell me.
speecher.
They would take over immediately, dude.
Bears
if they did.
There is a thing that's happening with bears now that is. Have you heard of the growler bear?
No.
So this is because of global warming. Polar bears have traditionally lived further north. Their habitat is being destroyed, so they're moving. Because of food scarcity, they're moving further south, where they are encountering grizzly bears, and those bears did not ever live in the same area before.
Yep.
So now they do, and they are fucking, and their offspring are they call them growler bears or pizzly bears depending on the gender of the parents, and they're just like nature's perfect killing machine. They're huge. They're really fierce. They're like the blade of bears. All of the pluses, none of the weaknesses. They're just
Yeah.
Holy shit.
and they're coming for us.
They drink a bunch of Coca-Cola.
Yep.
Yeah.
So much Coca-Cola. Yeah.
Dude, if these people ever went to Clark's Trading Post in New Hampshire, they would fucking lose their minds. You ever seen that place?
No, I haven't.
Dude, it's like
I've been
bears
told
that can like juggle and stuff, and
Oh,
like
really?
and like walk on like those balls and like balance shit, and yeah,
That's
it's crazy.
stuff that Tyler Tuttle's already pretty good at, though. It's a Tyler Tuttle joke.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I'm amazed at the level of like human-like stuff we've been able to convince bears to do. Like, I mean, the guys in like Russia and those Eastern European countries, those guys are. I mean, they wrestle with them, they hang out with them, they basically have them as pets.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which is fucking wild to me.
it's pretty crazy.
It's awesome.
Have you ever seen there was this I don't know what he was, but he was some sort of monkey or something. I think his name was Oliver. They were like touting him as being like the missing link because he was I guess an ape, but he just seemed very human like. And this bear reminds me of Oliver the Humanzee. They called him the Humanzee.
Oliver the Humanzee.
And
That's worth a Google.
yeah, I think it's Oliver. Look up Humanzee. That'll probably work. Yeah, he just like kind of like he like stands on he stands like a person. He kind of
Yeah.
he just kind of.
Yeah, he looks like a little guy.
And I think that like what
That's great.
what really is probably just a chimpanzee with like hip dysplasia that causes him to stand weird, but it's really. But he also like his face looks like he just kind of looks like an old man more than he looks like a chimpanzee. And beautiful singing voice too. That was the other thing about him.
Really?
No, it's been a while since I've seen the documentary, but I don't think that's true. Yeah, it looks like the extended cut is on YouTube. Oliver the Humanzee.
Top 5 animals.
Top 5 animals. Good question. Oh man, what animals do I really like? Let's see. I mean, dogs and cats got to be in the top 5 for sure. They're the ones I have the most experience with. They're all pretty good. Also, I guess depending on the dog and cat, there's some dogs that are the worst animals. Let's see. I like a chipmunk. Chipmunk's pretty good.
Okay.
I like birds. I like I'm big into birds. I like the birds of New England. Though probably I think maybe my favorite bird is a invasive species, the starling. I really like starlings. They're very common.
Yeah.
They're invasive from Europe, but
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty. Their feathers kind of look like stars.
I was big into birds when I was like 8 years old. My parents got me this book of like all the different birds you could find around New England, and then you had like you checked them off if you saw them.
That's so
It
cool.
was cool.
Nice. Can you explain carrier pigeons to me?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I'm talking on my ass for sure, but yeah, definitely. I don't know anything about them, but I can explain them to you. Yeah, basically, they're just a type of pigeon that was really good at like returning to like where they were used to getting food, basically. Mm-hmm. So you could like send it from one place to another pretty easily, and you could attach messages to them. But then they went extinct because they also were tragically delicious.
Ah.
They were just so good that even though they were such a useful way, I think probably it really was the telephone that killed the traveler pigeon.
Right. I was going to say, it'd be funny if they killed them all before the telephone. It's like, that's such a human story. It's like, this is the most useful animal of all time, hands down. It's miraculous we can get it to do this. Only problem is we'd like to eat them.
Did you see the Academy Award-winning animated short about carrier pigeons that came out this year?
No.
It's
Pixar?
it is no, it's not Pixar.
Oh.
It is it's like, oh man, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's
Oh
bad.
Jesus!
This is pretty common, but I love movies, so I like to go see the short feature Oscar presentation before the Oscars, and it's like almost, this definitely the last 2 years, but like most years it's like there's always like one animated short that I'm like, this fucking sucks, and it's definitely going to win, and that's definitely what happened the last 2 years.
And it always does.
And yeah, it's oh man, it's based on the John Lennon Yoko Ono song "War Is Over," which as a song is just dog shit, just a terrible, fucking stupid song. War is over if you want. So that's why it's not over. It's because you didn't want it enough.
Yep.
If you wanted it, it would be.
That's true.
Yeah, it's just you guys don't. You guys, it's you guys don't want it enough. So.
It's like, what if I wrote Imagine, but worse?
Yeah, which I also don't like. But yeah, it's
Oh, when the celebrities did that during COVID.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, what a terrible.
That was one of the cringiest things I've ever seen in my life.
But that was great,
so
because
bad.
what we really needed during COVID was unity, and pretty much everybody was unified in their disgust of that movie.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
pretty much
think
everybody ripped that to shreds.
Maybe the best part of that was just that so many people like just shot it in front of like a beautiful part of their property, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like, as we're all like stuck inside tiny apartments, and these celebrities are like, hey, imagine all the people, and they're like just in like a beautiful manicured
I think
estate.
Ellen DeGeneres won that award from her like $50 million mansion in Montecito. She's like crying, being like, I haven't seen my servants, who you will shortly find out I abuse the shit out of in weeks.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was funny I was listening to the I think the New York Times podcast on this, that the TikTok ban that's pushing through Congress, like the CEO is trying to convince them that they weren't like a subsidiary of the Chinese government, and even our idiot congressmen were able to like back him into a corner really easily on this and be like, all right, well then if the Chinese government asks you for user data, will you give it to them? And he was just like, not no.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's miraculous what you've done. You've actually managed to unify both houses of Congress. Both the left and the right agree that TikTok is a piece of shit and that we got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's funny to me that like in 2020, like two things came to the United States: COVID and TikTok.
Yeah.
And we came to an agreement on how to deal with the kids dancing, but when it came to the deadly pandemic, we were a fucking disaster.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just how it works in China. Is that every corporation is in some ways at least slightly controlled by the government, as opposed to here where the government is controlled by corporations.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know which way's better, but that's how it seems to be how it works.
Yeah.
I think like I've like kind of like long ago. I don't think we're like a country anymore. We're just a collection of people with different like corporate affiliations, and And I mean, look, I'm from the Northeast. We're Amazon people.
Yeah.
And I don't understand those rural Walmart people.
Yeah,
like, I
no.
can't relate to their Walmart ways.
Nope.
We're Amazon people. We want we want just a smiling mouth stepping on our neck, not a whole smiling face.
Right. Yeah. At least don't make me have to leave my house to have my neck stepped on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it from the comfort of my home. Yeah, I heard. I heard some interview with Steve Bannon a while back where he's like, "Capitalism is over. We live in techno-feudalism. Like these CEOs, they're the lords and ladies,
Yeah.
and they control everything, and you just decide which one you want to pay your little tax to."
Yeah.
You know.
That's pretty true.
I was like, "Damn, Steve Bannon, making a lot of sense. I better turn it off before it gets bad."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, no, Steve Bannon is smart. He's just evil.
Yeah, I know. Something I do respect about him, though, is that he seems pretty honest about that. He's just like, yeah, I'm fucking Darth Vader, dude. Deal with it. Whereas, the Hillary Clintons of the world pretend they're not.
Did you see that documentary, the Errol Morris documentary about him?
I did not know. I've heard of it, though.
Yeah,
I've
it's
heard of
interesting.
it.
It's really, I mean, he's very charming, despite not appearing to work on it at all.
Yeah. No, he definitely has like an evil charisma, kind of a little bit Trump-like, just a little more educated and not quite as fun.
Yeah.
But if you sit and listen to him talk for long enough, you're like, all right, you start to get lulled into that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see what policies he actually put forward, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
It's a good transition into the Trump gag.
Yeah, the
order,
Trump
huh?
gag order, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it would be so funny for him to go to jail. He deleted a social tweet, I think, either yesterday or earlier today.
Really? Does he do that often?
I think this is probably the first time because
Wow.
he realized, might carry actual consequences for me.
Yeah.
He literally called the judge a piece of shit and was like, mistrial, all caps. It was very classic
Very Trump-esque
Trump
style
totally
tweet.
Trump-esque,
Yeah.
and you just have to imagine his lawyers calling him dude,
Fucking
I
knock
can't
it off.
help you in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is weird that he's so old, but is the politician that's most best adapted to the modern technology. He uses it so effectively, better than anyone else. A quarter of his age.
Yeah, well, he's been such a TV obsessive forever. That was always the reports from his advisors that he would show up late for work every day. He'd show up at 11 because he was upstairs watching Fox News.
Yeah.
I always thought, as annoying as it would probably be, I would kind of love to sit and watch Fox with him for an hour just to hear what his observations were of the people on camera, because he has such an intimate idea of what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
You probably notice things that a normal person just wouldn't.
Yeah. He's a showman.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of I remember when Kennedy came along. At first he wasn't super competitive with Nixon, and then they got on TV.
Yeah.
And he was so charismatic visually that it worked out for him.
Yeah.
Trump probably would have never made it in an era that required you to be really well versed on the issues, but in the Twitter era, he's perfect.
Yeah, and I think the same thing about I think Kennedy's the TV president. I think Obama was the Facebook president, because I think a lot of his success was the establishment not really understanding how Facebook and other newer the current social media at that time worked, and so he was able to mobilize way better than any other candidate. And then Trump is the Twitter. Definitely the Twitter president, or the ex-president, I guess now.
Yep.
Yeah, I lost faith in the free speech absolutism project on X when Elon banned the word cis. It's we're keeping the N-word, but we're banning cis. It's come on, dude. I don't love being referred to as cisgender, but it's not a slur.
Does it? Do you not like it?
I don't love it.
Why?
Because it sounds like sissy, which seems like a
That is
like,
a good point.
It seems like a
like
shot. It honestly, because a straight person did not come up with this, so it seems like an underhanded thing, and then they
That's
can say,
funny.
well, it's just a technical term. It doesn't actually mean that, but it's like,
yeah,
you know what you're doing.
What's
You
the
know what you're
etymology
doing.
of it? Like, what is it? Is it like short for something, or is it like?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
That is funny though. I mean, yeah, they definitely did. I guess they didn't account for male fragility when they came up with that term.
Exactly, and it's like these are the people that know the most about male fragility when talking about it. So it's like, come on, why are you pushing my buttons?
Yeah.
Cisgender etymology.
Let's see.
Prefix cis.
On this side of.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think, and also like there's a weird, I guess, subconscious distaste for feeling like you're going from like the reason cis was never really used was that the standard straight person was like just it was such the standard that we didn't feel like we needed a term for
I mean, I
it.
think that's the point. Is that it's just thinking about other people who have spent their whole lives being othered by being like white straight male is the default and everyone else is
Right.
other than that, so it's like all these people, even like women who are 51% of the population, have felt othered, even though they're the majority. And so it's sort of like trying to correct that a little bit by like having like putting a label on the default, like rather than just being like, oh, just you're a regular person, a straight white man. Like it's a cis man, so it's like they have a distinguisher that just separates them from being just the default,
Yeah, I think it makes total sense. I mean, I don't love it, but I don't love it much in the way that I don't love veganism. Like, I don't have any arguments against it.
Well, I'm a vegan and a sissy, so I think maybe my opinions are
Your actions are
kinda
actually in alignment with your values.
Absolutely,
which is,
yeah. I'm a sissy vegan.
Not me.
Yeah.
My beliefs are like that Louis bit about beliefs. Like they're my little believies. Like I live by none of them. But
Henry Rollins did a bit like he does stand up, but he calls it spoken word. But about the term straight, and he was like I'm a straight man, but like I hate that term. It just sounds so like rigid, It's like,
Right.
well, I'm gonna have some straight sex, I'm gonna have some straight coffee before I go to straight work. Straight wasn't. I think I like cis better than straight. Straight sounds so like because straight's also like like 1960s counterculture is like either you're groovy or you're straight, man, and it's like we're trying to like get away from the straight world and be groovy,
yeah.
So like straight also is just like it's like the 60s version of like normie or establishment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, well, nobody wants to be a boring straight person.
Yeah,
it's like my mentality.
Why not be a
about this-
groovy cis, man?
Yeah, just get out there, start fucking and sucking everything that moves. Yeah, the metaphor that has always rung in my mind about this is like if you go to Baskin Robbins or whatever, like who's happier, the person who enjoys all 31 flavors or the person who's like I can do chocolate and that's it. It's like
I don't know, man. I love chocolate. I mean, I like other flavors okay too, but like you know what? It's like when I go to the ice cream store, fake ice cream store, I get other flavors because I want to expand my horizon. I want to experience life.
yeah.
I want to taste all the flavors. But like I really just want chocolate.
Yeah.
I really, that's all. I just want chocolate. I just, if no one else was looking, I would just be eating chocolate.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they nailed it with chocolate ice cream.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Yep.
Yeah. You ever blow a guy just to see if you liked it?
No, I haven't, but I bet I would. I don't think I would dislike it. I just think. I just don't
Be a
want
neutral
to.
experience.
I just don't want to. I don't really want to like have sex with anyone that I'm not like into. Because I feel like that's rude.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably like. I don't think like the having a penis in my mouth would be the part that I would feel bad about. Like the part I'd feel bad about would be like if later the guy was like, so maybe we can hang out later this week, or even worse, if the guy was like, all right, well, I'll see you later, and I'd be like, do you want my phone number? He'd be like, it's good. Like, but I mean, maybe next week we could. Either of those would make me
You're
upset.
really
It doesn't
going
sound
into your
great.
psychology, Rob. You
Yeah.
gotta be more confident, man. You're just
Oh, no.
immediately assuming that you did.
No, I mean, I think either of those outcomes, either him not being interested in getting blown by me again,
Right.
or like really wanting to get blown by me again, would make me feel bad because I'd be like, I'm not really into it. But I do want you to be into it. Like,
Yeah.
Those fake feeling bads, like girls that get stalked and are like, "Oh my god, he's so obsessed with me."
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I definitely want everyone to be in love with me, everyone. But also, like, if someone is in love with me and I'm not in love with them, then I feel bad.
Yeah, I want people to be in love with me universally, but I want most of them to do it at a distance. You know, I don't have time for everybody.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's impossible. It just means I can never be satisfied.
Do you think you'd make a good cult leader?
I think when I was younger, I could have. I don't think I have the energy for it anymore.
That's what always astonishes me
Yeah.
with those guys: the time management skills.
You know.
I mean, like,
Do you know what helps though is amphetamines.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of them do a lot of amphetamines.
Yeah.
And then just to go along with the amphetamines, you got to get a pair of sunglasses to cover up the fact that your eyes are bright red all the time because you haven't slept in a week.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, those
Don't
dudes
tempt
are
me with a
wild.
good time.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Twin Flames documentary on
Oh, yeah.
Netflix? That was a fun one to
No,
watch. That was a fun watch.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that guy.
Guy's
I mean,
nuts,
both
dude.
of them are pretty annoying, but like that guy is just like, whew, he's a piece of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love cults. Well, I mean I love documentaries about. I hate cults.
No, we have the same.
We
Yeah.
had
We
the
have the
same
same.
exact discussion.
same
We had this
feelings.
discussion with
Yep.
Raul. It's like, I love
Yeah.
cults in the same way that I love 9/11. You
Yeah.
know, it wasn't a good thing, but it was fascinating, and it, you know.
Yeah, I hate cults. I hate like the things that cults do, like it's like not returning texts and like pretending they're at home when you go to the temple and you can hear them rustling around in there. Just like I hate when cults do stuff like that.
Cults are withholding.
Yeah, I'm like looking through the windows. I can see them in there. They're I love any documentary about cults.
Yeah, they're
What I liked about the Twin Flames guy, I mean, there was a lot that I liked about him, but like some of the clips that they would show of him on his like Zoom meetings, he would just straight up say what his strategy was behind everything he was doing.
Yeah.
He was just like, so we're gonna classify ourselves as a religion so we can get the tax breaks. Are we a religion? Obviously not. But
Yeah.
trying to get this paper, whereas everybody else makes these elaborate lies.
But eventually he was like, I am God. He was like, I know I just said we're becoming a religion to get the tax break, but I am also God. I am God.
Yeah.
Like he did eventually say that.
yeah.
Really adding to the list of like amphetamine-driven behavior from cults. It's like
Yeah.
you're much more likely to believe your own bullshit on the God stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more depraved sexually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more productive time management. I just saw like read that article about Andrew Huberman. He got in trouble for like having 5 girlfriends, and it's like
Who is that?
Huberman he has a podcast called Huberman Lab where he's like if Rogan had a PhD. He's just talking about ice baths and not drinking alcohol, and it's like it's good for an episode or two. You learn something, and then you're like, I'm not living like this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wrote this article about how he was like cheating on 5 women all at the same time, which isn't a real story. He's not breaking the law. It's just his personal life. But
I'm sure his fans were happy with that.
yeah,
though.
I'm sure he
They
lost
probably
some female
jazzed them
fans
up.
and
Yeah.
gained some male fans
Yeah,
for sure.
the male fans went up.
But
Definitely.
the funniest part of the article is just the anecdotes of like how he juggled 5 women in his life. I mean, he's going from he'll wake up with a woman, go to a coffee date with another woman, pick another one up at the airport, and like be on the phone half the time. It's like, damn, dude, like getting after it. And that's just 5. I mean, you've got a cult. You have like hundreds of these people.
Yeah. My favorite part of that Twin Flames was when he kept telling that girl to stalk her, the dude,
that was so
and she like gets arrested
it's
and
so
she's
weird.
she's
Yeah,
in jail
man.
for like 60 days and she comes back and she's like, yeah, I was in prison. He's like, well, you gotta go. He's just not getting it yet. You gotta go after him again. And then she's like, what the fuck is this
That
guy
is
telling me to
crazy.
do?
Yeah, you gotta wonder if they're just. I heard this expression the other day. I loved it. That they're just at a certain point they just start reality testing. just seeing like how far can I push this? Like, there's no
Yeah.
discernible advantage to making this woman get arrested, but he's just in his mind. He's like, I wonder if she would. You know?
Will she do it
Yeah,
again?
I kind of think that. Yeah, it seems like it was sort of. He just was like, these people weren't people to him. They were just like things that he was like having fun with, kind of. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just humans in bear costumes.
Yeah, like voodoo dolling them almost. Like, we'll have
Right.
this one do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because then they started transitioning them too, right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
that
that's
was
the peak
that
of
was
it,
his discretion
for sure.
to them, right? Like
Yeah.
he would tell them, like, oh yeah, your twin flame's a guy, so you're gonna transition into
Yeah.
a female now.
Yeah.
Man, not the best look for the trans community. You had like,
Yeah.
you just had these parents being like, "Look, I'm not against trans people, but this is clearly not. You're clearly not actually suffering any kind of gender dysphoria. You're just getting
Yeah.
Getting told to do
you're
it.
just
Yeah.
getting fucking manipulated."
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. It's like he just like ruins so many people's lives. It's so
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
But fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of, I think, by judging by like the cult experts that I hear talking these documentaries, we're kind of living in the golden age of cults. Social media makes people so accessible. It's so, and everybody's broadcasting their mental illnesses, so like you can easily collect people based on whatever weakness that they're.
Yeah, I think whenever there's like big expansions of population and technology, like I think cults pop up a lot. You know, like when the status quo is really shifted for a variety of different reasons, it happens. Like, you know, like like there's so many cults in the, like, you know, the 60s counterculture when like
Totally, yeah.
the culture is really rapidly changing, and now it's tech based, but it's like it is a rapid change of the culture. And I think that's like whenever there are these, you know, it's basically like the culture is changing faster than the establishments can sort of keep up with it. It sort of you know,
Right.
it provides opportunity for people to do a lot of disruption, which some can be positive, but a lot of it can be really negative.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like a big hormonal change and like pimples on the body of the human collective, you know, just pop up. I think there's got to be some overlap between like the psychology underpinning a comedian's desire to get famous and a cult leader. Like a comic is probably, I mean, save for like a few directors and like the literal Jared Leto cult, like comedians are kind of the most cult-like. I mean, Chris D'Elia literally he called it that. His fan base a cult. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I've never like thought I'm like very. I always kind of. I'm just unambitious, I guess. Like I never really view comedy as like a way to get. Like I never thought I was going to be famous. I was like, hopefully my shows will be better attended as I go along.
Right. Yeah.
You know, which is kind of it's hit or, you know,
Hit or miss.
it's been up and down, I guess, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to connect with the audience that's in front of me. I don't have any long-term plans. But I guess. And it's like weird because I kind of like always, because we all kind of like say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like I think you're right. Most people are like, I'm gonna be famous doing this, and I just am not. I'm just very unambitious.
Yeah. I'm always for leveling up and just seeing what new opportunities arise.
Sure.
But you do notice like, some people are like, truly, you think you're ambitious, and then you encounter a truly ambitious person. You're like, this is all they think about. And I don't know if I want to be that person. Frankly, like...
Oh, wait. Gary Peterson's calling. Do you want to get Gary Peterson on for a minute?
Sure, yeah, let's go.
Right, 1 second. Hey, Gary, I'm on the Ked podcast with Eddie and Kenny.
Oh, who's Kenny, the Posey?
Kenny Sparrow.
Oh, okay.
And Eddie O. Do you know these guys?
No, maybe. I don't know.
Eddie's dog's name is Gary, and I told Eddie that he could have the name Gary Peterson since it's not being used anymore.
No, then they'll have to put the dog down.
Oh no!
I was seeing if you wanted to go to this movie thing at 9:30 in Coolidge.
I'm at Laugh Draft later. Do you want to meet me there and we can maybe do something from there?
I'll meet my friends in Coolidge at 9.
Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to make it.
What are y'all trying to see?
There. Well, what movie?
It's part of this film festival. I think it's a zombie one. I'll text you the name of it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I would like to go to it. I don't know if I can make it there, but yeah, text me about it. I'll text you when I'm done with this. Do you guys edit this, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Alright, good.
I mean, by request.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, like there's nothing that I'm like embarrassed to. Well, I guess I'd be embarrassed if just me making movie plans with Gary. Like, not because it's like it's an embarrassing thing. Just it's embarrassingly boring, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, no, we'll cut this out.
But Gary got some
Timestamp
funny
it.
lines in there at the
I don't
beginning.
mind.
Yeah.
I don't
Are
mind
you
when
s-
stuff like
are
this
you
happens.
Yeah.
Are you saying you don't want to be my friend anymore?
No, Gary. No, Gary.
I
No.
just, I feel like I'm the only one trying.
No, Gary. Look, I've been busy, and I have this sty in my eye that I've been really working hard to get rid of. I just have had a lot on my plate, and it's not about you. It's about it's just about me and me having the opportunity to spend time with more interesting people.
You guys are really peas in the pod. Rob was doing this exact bit about 5 minutes ago, talking about blowing a guy, and being worried that what might happen afterwards.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's pretty similar.
All right, well, have fun. Be yourself.
All
Go get him.
Oh yeah, do you have wait, before you go, do you have any podcast advice for me?
Yeah, dude, tell us a joke.
How many Rob Creans does it take to do a podcast?
How many?
Like I don't know, yeah, like it's fine, like it's okay. I mean, yeah, if you want to do that. I don't know.
I think we're losing it. I think we're going through a tunnel, so we probably gotta let this. Probably gotta. I love you, but I'll talk to you later.
We're telling our podcast. You know what would be a sick, like, independent film festival thing to do is, like, say you're showing a zombie movie and then just show, like, a live stream of, like, Mass Ave. Or, like, people show up, like, wait a second.
Methadone Mile.
Yeah, just a live stream of Methadone Mile.
I always drive by that on the way to Midway on Sundays.
Yeah.
And, like, if I get caught at that red light, I'm always smoking a cigarette, so I give out at least one cigarette on my way to Midway every time. Nice. And then if Cam McNeil's there, I give out 4 more while I'm there.
I gotta talk to
Sunday's a tough day for my cigarettes.
I gotta talk to Cam about
I hit you pretty hard for this, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cam, I think, Cam was, he likes to smoke cigarettes.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Cam.
He just turned, his birthday was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Cam McNeil. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah. He's a dear friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that joke that he did, that he sold to the guy who did it on Late Night. We've already told this, obviously. I wonder if you
Cam told
remember
us on
What joke was it?
pod.
It was, I
had sex with him.
fucked my third cousin. My first 2 cousins were so pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Great joke.
That's a good joke.
Who do you think is the best late night person? I mean, late night's kind of irrelevant at this point.
They're all. I love. Conan was probably my favorite ever. I think, though I loved Letterman. I'm like old enough that I watched Late Night with David Letterman when it was on, and I absolutely loved it. But then Conan is like probably my all-time favorite. I also was old enough to watch Carson when he was on towards the end, and I loved Carson.
Oh, shit.
I love Kimmel. I love Seth Meyers. What he does is like very specific, though. I don't know. I like Colbert. I like I like the format. I used to do a talk show, like a live talk show in a bar. That it's a really fun format. It's really there's a reason that it's been around for like 100 years.
Yep.
Going from like
Not 100 years, but like 75 years probably.
I'm so intrigued that you got to see that progression. I mean, like you would have caught Carson towards the very end. Like, how has it evolved? Like, how has it changed? I would imagine it was probably more like formalized at first.
No, Carson's super loose actually, and especially like when Carson first started, it was 2 hours long, so it was like really loose.
Wow, yeah.
And then it got more formal, and then also like when I was watching The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, it was like he was only hosting, I think 2 or 3 nights a week, and then Leno hosted the other nights. Before Leno was the host, he was the permanent guest host. So he hosted like I think he hosted Tuesday
Whenever
and
Carson
Thursday.
didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
or-
but it was like
yeah.
every week though. It was
Oh,
like
okay.
Carson only hosted towards the end. Carson only hosted like part of the week. So and it was like, but it was like still like, it was still the Carson show, but just with a guest host. Because it was like, you know, when Leno eventually took over, the show was different than when it was just when it was him hosting the Carson show.
Yep.
But yeah, it was and I mean towards the, like, I watched a lot, like I started watching probably like a year before he went off the air, and so like or maybe 2 years. So like maybe the first year I was watching, like it was like he was, you know, doing the show. And then like the last year I watched, it was like basically a full year of him, like of his like goodbye tour. So it was like just every guest he'd ever had on, like all his like major guests coming back on and being like, "I love you, Johnny. It's been great all these years."
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah,
one of my
it's
favorite
great.
things ever is Norm doing his like send off set for Letterman.
Yeah.
And like getting really emotional at the end. It's like, oh, this is nice. This
Yeah.
is really sweet. It's interesting that they did it for 2 hours. I like that. It kind of reminds me of how like people. I feel like there's been this weird contraction where like people just got obsessed with this idea that nobody had an attention span anymore, and so everything
Yeah.
shortened. And then the Joe Rogans of the world showed up, and we're like,
Right.
I'll talk for 4 hours and you'll listen
Yeah.
to the whole thing. But
Right.
like it makes for, because it loosens you up and you don't have to cram everything into 5-minute segments. It probably made for better comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. I think that a lot of it, you know, it's all about revenue. So it's not even so much that the like, you know, that the attention span wasn't as long back then. It's just like it was, you get a tighter, better show, and you can put in more commercials because like there's less dead space in the actual show. So the dead space becomes the commercials that you can sell. You know, so I mean, I mean, at least that's how I imagine it probably went.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, I mean, it used to just be like, you know, when television first came out, like a show like that would have just been like a radio show, but with cameras, you know, and yeah, and we've kind of come full circle now, where it's like now, you know, like Stern and Rogan and all those guys are just, you know, doing radio shows with cameras.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
but yeah, and people just, yeah, but people like tend to like consume them. When I was growing up, you used to be able to listen to the television on the radio, like you could tune in to like certain stations. So I used to love listening to
That's
television
cool.
on the radio.
That's
like,
something that's come back too. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes I'll throw on like I don't know, something like Real Time with Bill Maher, where
Yeah.
like if you watch it, you're not really watching anything.
Right,
Like,
right,
you're
yeah.
just,
I used to listen to that all
in
the
car
time.
and stuff.
I've dropped off in Bill Maher. I was with him for so long too. Like I knew he was an idiot, but but I still liked the show. But then it just he eventually I was like, I can't deal with him anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. I had the opposite thing. Growing up, I found his whole like aesthetic, the whole dripping with sanctimony thing always
Yeah.
really bothered me.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, I've grown to appreciate more like how consistent he's been with his.
Yeah,
He clearly he doesn't let people sway him, and I talk about this on the podcast way too often. But some of my favorite things ever to go back and like understand American culture are the politically incorrect shows in the 90s.
Yeah,
It's like
those
you
are-
see that so much of where we're at today makes so much sense.
Right, and I think I disagree with him on a lot of things, but he like is very like, you know, the reason that he lost that show was that he said that he understood why the terrorists attacked us was because of like our foreign policies, and you
And
know,
he refused to acknowledge that bin Laden wasn't brave. That
Right,
was like
yeah,
the
yeah.
core thing, which is
Yeah.
so. Of course, he wasn't brave. I mean, like, or of course
Well,
he was brave.
yeah,
but
yeah,
It's
no,
like
I
that
mean,
wasn't, you know, that wasn't a good act, but
I mean, he
wasn't
wasn't
a cowardly
as
one.
brave as the guys that flew the planes, but
That's true.
those guys were really brave. But
Yeah.
not that I agree with what they did. I don't think it, like, I think a lot of things are brave. I see a lot of people doing a lot of brave things.
Yeah, that's true.
I see a lot of people just making a lot of wardrobe choices that are very brave,
Yes,
that I
that's
also
true.
condemn.
Yeah.
You know, anytime I see a guy with a fedora, I'm like, that is brave,
Yeah.
but
My
it is,
mom
but
bought
it
me a
is wrong.
fedora like a year ago. I forget why, and I just didn't have the heart to tell her. I was like, I will literally never wear this.
Yeah.
Like unless I lose some kind of bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, like, I have no fashion sense. I don't think about it ever. And then every year when the Met Gala happens, I scroll through and I have so many opinions.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she looks terrible. It's like, this like $50,000 fucking thing. That, like,
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that Bill Maher was really right about was when he said he was the first person that was like, if Donald Trump loses the election, he's not going to leave.
Right.
And he said it for 4 years. He was like, he won't leave.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, look, he's eccentric, but he's gonna leave if he doesn't get elected. And then well, you guys know what happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
He didn't leave.
Yeah, I like it. Even if he had been wrong about that, I like that he stuck to his guns. You know, I can't imagine.
It's not as impressive if he's wrong, though.
But
yeah,
if he's wrong, it's just like,
yeah.
It's just, I mean, I've predicted a lot of things consistently, and I never wavered from those opinions. And then those things did not happen, and and now I just don't talk about those predictions anymore.
I don't mind.
January 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a day.
What a day. I was in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania when it happened.
Really?
Yeah.
King of Prussia is the name of that.
That's the name of it. Yeah.
Did he go? Did his plane stop there or something one day? I guess
I was there. I was there unrelated to. Oh, the King of Prussia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why it's called King of Prussia. I should have looked that up.
Pennsylvania has some weird city names. Though.
Yeah.
Like Mars is one, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Sick.
they're crazy.
I think there's a
they're
Mars in
crazy
Maine
over
too,
there.
isn't there?
Where?
In Maine.
There might be. I'm not sure.
Maine's got a lot of crazy names too.
Yeah.
I forget where I heard this, but somebody recently told me that they thought that, and it made sense to me that Pennsylvania is like the most American state in the country. Like,
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, cities like Philadelphia are like very liberal and gay, and then you go out to the rest of it, and it's rural and everybody's gun owners.
Well, it's like because it's like kind of like the bottom of it is kind of it's long and it's like kind of like along the edge of like, so it's like if you're in the west you're like by Ohio, so it's like very midwestern.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like in the south you're like it's kind of like the south, and then like it's not on the coast but it's very close to the coast. Mm-hmm. It's on the water.
Yep.
It's a river, but yeah. So yeah, it's like a lot of different parts of America in one state.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd say I think it's probably the most American state. Yeah. They also get that Liberty Bell, which is historically surprisingly insignificant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely thought that was more when they first had that going on.
Yeah.
Because that was the capital of first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until they moved to D.C.
Yeah, I think they wanted to have a capital that was below the Mason-Dixon line. So but to appease the South, but
yep.
Yeah, I like to think of we were thinking about this with like state superlatives. I mean, like Pennsylvania being the most American, Utah being the only state that I associate with just one group of people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess with I would say Texas I think is very much associated with Texans, which is it's not exactly a religion, but it's but then again there's like 5 different parts. There's 5 different Texases. Sure. They're all Texas, but there's like 5 different strains of Texas,
Yeah. I have family down there. I fucking love Texas.
Yeah, it's cool.
Great.
Texas is sweet.
I haven't spent a ton of time there, but it seems cool to me.
Yeah.
Florida with being crackheads.
Being the one state in the country you could legalize all drugs and nothing would change.
Yep.
I also.
Oh no! I mean, I think a lot would like. Do you know how easy it is to go to jail for drugs in Florida? Like they incarcerate like so many people. Like you can get like people go to jail for like years for like having a joint or something on them. So like it would their economy would be tossed on its head. all these correctional officers would be out of work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, for being the most like freedom touting, the right does tend to be the most draconian.
Yeah.
Sometimes I agree with it though. Like DeSantis, like tried to ban. I think he did effectively like ban social media for people like 16 and under.
Yeah, I can see
something like that. And I was like, damn, dude, that makes total fucking sense. I mean, by the time we have kids, I mean, Kenny already has a kid, but by the time I have kids, like, I really do think we're gonna think of these websites as like cigarettes, and like we were just giving cigarettes to fucking 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He doesn't have a phone or anything yet, and he's 9.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
we're doing a good job, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you're gonna
Like
run
he's
into
been
that,
telling me that some of his friends have phones. And
That's
stuff,
what I was just
so,
gonna say.
yeah.
You have to run through that buzzsaw.
Yep.
But like,
Yeah. My nephew is 8. He doesn't have a phone yet. But like my sister's one of them broke. My sister's 3 kids, and one of them broke her phone. So I like gave her an old phone, and she like was using that for a while, like while she was getting her phone fixed. So they like currently just have an unused phone sitting at their house. And I'm sure that he wants it so bad.
Yeah, he's gonna nab that soon. Yeah.
But I don't think she's gonna give it to him.
how does Jace handle peer pressure? Is he good about it? I mean, I suppose he's so young. It's like,
From what I know, yeah, he's fine. I think.
he doesn't hit
But he
you
does-
every week with like, oh, so and so has this toy or whatever. Like,
No, not usually. No.
maybe he's the one that has all the toys.
Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
it too. Yeah, he's doing all right.
Since you told me he plays Call of Duty, now whenever I go online and I get shot, I'm just like, I'm getting shot by a 9-year-old right now. This is embarrassing.
Yeah. No, he rips Fortnite a lot. That's what he plays.
I bet, yeah.
He's
God, that game looks like literal
huge
crack.
into it.
If I, yeah.
Oh, it is. I
I was of
play
age
it with
for
him, dude, and
Fortnite.
it's like wicked addicting.
Yeah.
Even just like the skins and stuff that they put in there, because they do like collabs with like almost anything.
Right,
Like
yeah.
Peter Griffin's in the game now. Like you can. I have the Peter Copter as my glider, so I just glide in on.
I'm glad they're doing
The
that in
Peter
Fortnite.
Copter.
I want that
It's very
stuff
fun.
out of Call of Duty. Like when I'm playing Call of Duty and trying to take it seriously. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
get
and then
killed
Kevin
by a guy
Durant
that-
kills you.
And I killed Kevin Durant. Or fucking like
Dude,
literally
that-
Snoop Dogg. Like
Yeah, Snoop Dogg, 21
Yeah.
Savage,
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj. Dude, I got killed by Nicki Minaj in that game, and then teabagged by Nicki Minaj.
Guantanamo Bay, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
Call of Duty needs to knock that off.
My friend
I agree with you on that totally.
It takes
keep
you
it
out
to
of
like
it.
keep
Or
it
maybe
only
leave it
in
in certain
Fortnite.
playlists, or leave it in certain playlists. Like
That's
Team
true.
Deathmatch, where you look retarded, is its own thing. Yeah.
Silly character team deathmatch.
Right.
my
You guys
friend
can be all the celebrities.
My friend John Paul plays this game called Rocket League,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think he buys a lot of skins. But for a while, like 7-Eleven was like giving away like 7-Eleven themed skins, and he like definitely got a lot of those.
Like with like
Yeah, you
your
get a
rewards
Slurpee,
points on.
and yeah, you get
sick.
a Rocket League skin.
Yeah, I like that. I have a Doritos thing from, and I have a Burger King skin on Call of Duty because they did a thing. Dude, I had to download the like Burger King app from like Mexico, and like read this thing
To
in
get-
Spanish and
get the
type in
skin?
a code to get the skin
Whoa.
because they only did it in like it was like
Are you like the king, or is it?
yeah. So you're dressed up as the Burger King, but you have
pretty
like a Burger Town shirt on, which
feel
was
like that'd be a-
that was a POI in Call of Duty's. It's
Terrible
called
to
Burger
be
Town,
in
but
Call of Duty. I mean, that dude's head is so big.
no,
He's
it's
just a
not the
massive target
actual.
to the enemy.
So you have a crown on,
Okay.
and then the dude's just wearing like
so like the Burger King guy from the plane-
shirt,
from the
pretty
flight.
much. Yeah, exactly, yeah, that guy,
Yeah.
the one word guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I love that. It's so American. Like you have, I mean, if you open up the idea of gun skins, it's there's massive artistic potential. People could create really interesting looking things, but it's like, no, dude, we just want Burger King. Like,
yeah, exactly.
just
There's
give
a
us
Jack
this banal
Link's.
fast food logo.
This is the best one that they made. It was for the Modern Warfare 2. It was a Jack Link's beef jerky skin. So it's a ghillie suit, but it's made out of beef jerky. And it's so cool looking.
That's really funny.
That fucking rules.
It's the best skin I have.
That's like the worst possible ghillie skin you could have. Really, it's just like go out into the wilderness just dressed as prey. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
just you'd be out
Exactly.
there for like an hour, where you'd be swarmed by buzzards.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sasquatch would get him, dude.
Sasquatch would get you. Yeah, we talked about Sasquatch a lot at our opening at Midway this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You and Josh were great this week. I
Oh,
thought that
thanks.
was very
Yeah.
funny.
You
was
guys are
fun.
always great.
Yeah.
We've
Midway
been
rules.
well. we've been getting more consistent recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been solid.
Yeah, it's been fun to. Yeah, we've been figuring out our rapport
Mm-hmm.
more. I've been having a fun time editing little videos from it too, which has been fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
me and Josh pick.
Midway is such a success in my mind. Midway to me is like kind of the North Star of Boston comedy. It's like everything kind of revolves around Midway a little bit.
You think so?
Like it feels like the most pure like microcosm of the culture to me. when I'm there, I feel like this is Boston comedy with all its warts.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Definitely.
That's
yeah.
nice to hear.
Yeah.
Truly,
I feel like
man.
I would
mean it.
feel like it was more successful if we made more money. I think that would be like the way I would view.
But that wouldn't make it the most Boston thing, you
I
know?
guess so. Yeah.
Like if you were, successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been. I think it's fun. It's crazy. It's a crazy mic. It's Yeah. I mean, I was hosting mics for I've been hosting mics for about 20 years now, but I was hosting mics for like 14 years before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic was over, Angela had me come on to co-host Midway, and Angela just doesn't time people, and I'd always timed everyone like super meticulously when I had my old mic.
Yep.
At various venues, and so then Angela just didn't time people, and I was like, all right, well, I just won't time people either.
Yep.
And like, it's just so much less stressful to not time people. Like, it really is like, I can just watch the show and not like constantly be looking at my phone, like, you know.
If you can
hurry up.
guarantee that you won't be there till 4 a.m, or if you
We
don't
can't-
care that
yeah.
you're there till 4 a.m,
We can't do
that's
that.
fun.
No, we definitely can't do that. It
Yeah.
definitely we were there until 1:30 this week. It went really late, but
That's partially on me. I was the last one to go up.
yeah, I mean, you know,
I insisted that everybody hear my thoughts on Israel before we shut down.
No, I mean it's you know we're there for it.
Yeah.
We were really exhausted towards the end this week though. It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Come to Midway to hear it.
There's also just like
I mean, we did close to a half an hour to open those, so I can't really but like at the beginning it was like it's so light. It was really light at the beginning. We're like,
again-
Oh yeah, it was. There was like
there was like 10
8
people.
comics or
Yeah.
something at the
Yeah.
beginning,
So
and
we're
then
like-
everyone just started showing up.
Yeah. At like 10 we were like, we're gonna be done by 11:30, and then
Yeah.
like by 11:30 we were like, we're in the
Ooh,
weeds.
fuck. yeah.
So
Yeah, it was a fun week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always thought that about Midway. It's like the most Boston hang. Like you get to see the most comics
it's
that
like
you like.
intimidating at first because everybody there really clearly really knows each other and there's such a routine that's in place.
Yeah.
But when you get over that nervousness, you realize, this is actually the most welcoming, supportive.
Yeah,
For sure.
Me and Josh definitely work hard to be really opening. That's always been important to me. And it's really, I mean, like, I razz Josh a lot about like so many of the ways that he does comedy, but it's just as important to him as it is to me to be like welcoming to people and make sure that people feel welcome and safe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only person that gets lit at Midway is Mike.
Is Mike?
Yeah, you know Mike. He comes to Genie's.
Yeah, there's
Mike.
He's not the only
what's
one,
his
but
name?
he is one.
Yeah.
There's you know, there's a bunch of people that.
But if he's the one that I have fun lighting because he gets so mad at me about it. It's like, dude, every time you're up there, you have no concept of 5 minutes, not
would
one.
be a funny, yeah.
That's a thing I really want to catch on more at Midway is just the idea that anyone in the room is allowed to light people. Like, we say it at the beginning of the show, but again, like a lot of people aren't there at the beginning of the show. But yeah, just to like let people know, like you can, anyone, if you don't like what someone's doing up there, it doesn't matter. They don't even have to be at 5 minutes. You just can.
They could be 2 minutes in, just light them.
If you're like, this sucks. You just like.
That's our version of the Oscar music.
Yeah.
It's like slowly but surely the entire crowd is just hitting you with the iPhone flashlight.
Yeah.
But man, it really backfires though, because like a lot of people, they see that light and they're just like, oh man, all these people are filming me. I'm about to go viral. I'm gonna be famous.
Especially if they don't know like the light system thing, you know, newer people.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I like the idea of somebody going into like dick swinging mode for no reason.
Yeah,
Just
it
getting
is funny.
tricked.
It is funny. Yeah, I mean, it's funny when that happens when like people see like people are lighting and they're like, you know.
Yeah, I would abuse that. I would start lighting people at 1 minute. Just be like, yeah.
I want my turn now.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Just to see how they react.
It's I've been having more and more fun with the mic for a while. I was getting really frustrated with it, but I'm having fun with it recently.
Hell yeah.
You know.
Well, we're in an hour 3. Rob, it's been super fun, man.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Yeah.
I had a really great time.
Nice.
You want to plug anything?
Yeah, listen to my albums on wherever you listen to albums. A lot of people listen on Spotify. Almost no one listens on Apple Music, but you could. Every week I get a report of as how many people have listened on Apple Music, and it is, usually 0. So
Go check it out on Apple Music.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Apple Music sucks.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Listen to it. I mean,
we'll
almost
figure
everyone
it out.
listens on Spotify. But yeah, I have a couple albums. Sadly, Sacritan is the one that I like the best. It's like, you know, a little bit more personal, and there's kind of an arc to it. And then Local
What's the second
Personality.
word? Sadly, what?
Sadly, Sacritan.
I don't know this word.
It's not a real word.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, it's like, you know the term sad sack?
Sure, yeah.
It's like making that into a name.
Okay.
Sadly, Sacritan.
All right.
And then the other one is called Local Personality, and that one's just stand-up comedy jokes, which I think is pretty good. It's not as good as Sadly. It's not like I'm not as proud of it as Sadly Sacritan, but I think it's fun stand-up comedy that you can listen to and have a good time laughing at some jokes about regional things in Boston, like what I think the name of our state should be, and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. All right.
And check out Mendoza Line on Saturdays?
Yeah, Mendoza Lines every Saturday, and that's a great stand-up comedy show at the Dugout Cafe on Boston University campus. It's a lot of fun. It's the most intimate show in Boston. Come out and if you're if you're a fan of comedy, you'll enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And then on Sunday, I'm at Midway. If you're a fan of comedy, you probably don't want to come to it.
I wouldn't come, yeah.
But if you're an open micer, and like, let's face facts, if you're listening to this podcast, you are.
Yeah.
Open micers, alcoholics.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's great. There's a really good group of just local characters that come out who are, some of them are great, and I really like them.
Best bartender in the area for sure.
Dylan Sawyer, he's the best.
Dylan, he's the
Greatest
man.
bartender from here to Portland,
JP has
Oregon.
two of my
matter.
two favorite bartenders in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Adam at Genie's and
I love
Dylan
him.
at Midway.
Adam's great.
The best. Come to Grand 10 Distillery on May 31st. I'm doing a show. We got Cam McNeil, we got El Kennedy, we got Eddie, and Alexis Cristaldi. It's a great lineup.
It's a great lineup. That'll be a great show.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And that's it. Goodbye.
Do it. Bye.
Don't let them keep you down.